Spain. The land of endless sunshine, stunning beaches, incredible food, with a relaxed way of life. If you've been watching YouTube videos about moving to Spain, chances are you've seen thumbnails with crystal clear blue water, charming empty streets. But here's the thing. These videos are designed to make you click, and while they aren't necessarily lying, they aren't telling you the full story either. Most of the videos you see about moving to Spain, they're filmed in peak season, summer or spring, when everything looks vibrant, the weather is perfect, life seems like a never-ending holiday, towns are alive, restaurants are packed, and there's an exciting energy everywhere. You'll see people raving about an amazing lifestyle, the affordable cost of living, and how friendly everyone is. But what they don't show you is what happens when the tourists leave. So is Cullera really the Hollywood of Europe? We'll find out right after this ad.
Need help with immigration? Then Jose Torres is your answer. Struggling with visas, residency, or citizenship in Spain? Our expert Spanish immigration solicitors make the process simple, stress-free, and successful. Worried about language barriers? No problem. We speak perfect English.
Hola, me llamo es Brian. Let's see. Nosotros queremos ir con ustedes.
Yeah, that was pretty good. But actually, when you said me llamo es Brian, you don't need the ace. Just me llamo Brian.
Oh, you speak English?
No, just that first speech and this one explaining it.
You're kidding, right?
¿Qué?
Processing permits and visas, personalized legal advice, comprehensive management for companies. Every immigration situation is unique and deserves a clear and personalized approach. Your future in Spain starts here.
So that's Jose Torres. He helped me and he can help you. Okay, let's get on with it. Drone footage. Anything that's good from 200 feet. I live in East London. It's a shithole. If I filmed it from 200 feet, put a filter on it, add some nice tunes, maybe even you would want to live here. It's a horrible place. Don't do it. So what's the reality of off-peak season? If you're thinking of moving to Spain, you need to experience your chosen destination in an off-peak season. Why? Because that's when you'll see what daily life is really like. Don't forget, you're going to be there for 12 months. And if you've been on a holiday or if you looked on YouTube, you're only seeing that peak season. It's a small window of what that destination looks like. Don't forget, there's another 9 months that you're going to be there. So what you're going to experience? Well, firstly, fewer tourists. That buzzing atmosphere, it disappears in many towns. Some places feel completely deserted. And right now you're looking at Cullera and yeah, it's empty. There's no one there. Closed businesses. In many tourist hotspots, restaurants, cafes, and even supermarkets are shut down for months. Seriously, months. And in actual fact, in Cullera, behind this building we're looking at, which is where we were staying, is a huge supermarket. It was open, totally empty, but that is a plus for Cullera. So the other thing we got to look at, weather. Spain isn't sunny all year round. Some coastal towns get pretty cold. I mean, Maria's wearing a hat, a jacket and a scarf right now. But if you're living in the north, we're talking rain and wind. It's like living in London. So what was Cullera like? Well, it was 15 degrees, blue skies. It was very nice. Sometimes we were in a hat, scarf. But I wouldn't say it was cold. I wouldn't recommend going swimming, but it was nice. London, we just left London and it was 8 degrees and rain, so there was quite a contrast. So another reason to go in off-peak season, and I think this is quite a crucial one, is the local community. You'll get a better sense of the real locals instead of just expats and tourists. You know, you look at YouTube, or you may have gone on a holiday and you're going during peak season. This is a small little window, but you're going to be there for the other 9 months, and the other 9 months you're going to be with the locals. So what are they like? Well, you'll only find that out if you're going off-peak season. Okay, so how does this reflect on Cullera? Well, for the community side of things, I have to say everybody we spoke to, and there wasn't particularly that many people around, I have to be honest, seemed very nice. Okay, they were. As it goes for the businesses, it was lacking in bars and coffee shops, I have to say. And it was on my list for things to check for. But unfortunately, this was a markdown for Cullera because it really was lacking in any social gathering spots. There wasn't any variety in, say, oh, that's a nice bar. Oh, that's a nice. I could really picture myself sitting there with a coffee on a sunny afternoon during off-peak times, because there really wasn't many businesses around, or at least they weren't open for business. So that was a pretty big negative for me and for Maria, I have to say. So right now we're looking at Cullera Castle, and this is the peak, pardon the pun, the peak of Cullera's charm. If it didn't have this castle, I don't know, I would really not recommend this town at all. But it is a beautiful spot. It's the one thing that I filmed the most. Cullera doesn't have anything in the way of architecture, not really. When you look at the competition all the way down the Costa Blanca, all the way along the Med there, you got some big hitters. You got Valencia, Alicante, Nerja, Malaga, Barcelona. These have got architecture, and if you were walking down the street with your camera, you're like, oh, snap, snap, snap. I take my camera everywhere with me. I film everything. I had my camera with me. We're walking around town, and Maria said to me, she said, why aren't you filming anything? And I looked at her, I said, yeah, but look at it. It's just not worthy of me getting my camera out. Seriously, that's a massive indicator of how uninteresting that town was. Sorry, Cullera, but it's true. So I have 3 hobbies: calisthenics, rock climbing and skateboarding. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but it had all 3 covered. It had an amazing skate park. They've spent money on this thing. I don't know how they managed to get it done, because there's like literally 10 people living in that town. But it's incredible. It's like skateboard mecca. It was just wow. I was speechless. They got a brand new calisthenics park, and they got a bouldering obstacle right there, all free, all brand new. It was like the weirdest, randomest place to have these 3 things, but they were there. I have to say, I was super impressed. I'm sure there's hardly any of you actually do those 3 things, but for me personally, wow. Would I recommend living there? If you're over 60, yes. If you want a really quiet life, and I mean quiet, okay, and you're happy just chilling at home in your garden, walking along a quiet beach, then fine. But if you're under that age, I would say no. Maria and I sat down in that town and I asked her, would you live here? And she said, no, I wouldn't. I couldn't live here. And I had to agree with that. It was just too quiet. But I'm not knocking Cullera. Cullera was a bit like Margate. It's kind of where old people go to die. The next episode is going to be about Valencia. It's going to be a good one. It's a great city. Ooh.
Suscríbete, dale un like y activa las notificaciones.